there's so much going on in the world today.
Well, I wrote this book to sort of heal myself. So when I wrote it, I didn't write it for profit. I wrote it to give back. And initially, when I put this book out, I said that the profits from this, in addition to my savings and for my other life, I wanted to put 2 or 3 girls through college, and this would be my give back. But to give back and to put someone through college when the money is there is simple if the money is available. So what I did was I had a series that's called A Complicated Conversation, where I invited young women, 14 to 20, to come into a room, a non-judgmental atmosphere, and talk about the topics of their choosing. In addition to that, I gave them a lecture, and we used anecdotes from the book. And what I would learn, I did this in Harlem, and what I would learn is all of the issues that were going on behind the scenes in our community with our youth. So what I said was, I made a pledge to these young women. I had 25 women in the room. I says, if you pledge to look into yourself, I will support you. And that's what would start this foundation, Fuse for Young Women. And what Fuse is this foundation that supports women 14 to 20, and the only criteria is a willingness to want to help themselves. And it's mandatory for our youth to put an expiration date on blame. And so we have this forum where they go through this healing process. It's very therapeutic, but then they also have to work. So there's mentorship, and then there's enrichment. Because another thing that's going on in the communities is that the education system is an imbalance. So we had to get through some of the issues, and then we could get to the educational portion. And I like to look at it as 4 legs on a chair. One of the legs is community, another leg is parenting, another leg is the educational system, and another leg is your spiritual ground, which whether it be your church or your masjid, but you need those 4 legs. And in our community, what the children don't have is any of these legs. Or they're lacking, so they're stumbling, and some of them are on the ground. And you wonder why they're upset and they're confused because they don't have an example. So I thought that it wasn't enough to just put a book out and to just give, find people and give, one person that's worthy of it. So that's what this whole book is about, the give back portion of the book. But the actual story, the healing is that L.S. Jones, and I was raised by my great-grandmother, but I come from a lineage of strong women, pretty much. And I had a disconnect from my very own mother, and it's not that she wasn't around, it was just a disconnect. And as I sought to find myself and find my place, as many of our young children do, I was going through all of this emotional baggage. And I don't know of your upbringing, but in my community, we were taught to not talk and not to tell. And that you were to walk around with your signature smile no matter what was going on. The whole world could be falling down, and you were to pick your head up and pretend that everything was okay. And it wasn't okay. So I would carry this baggage around for years and years and years, and that's where the story would begin. And the story is titled The Queenspin's Daughter, respectfully, because my mother was a queenpin. She went to prison for 17 years of her life. She just recently came home. And she was very angry about this book coming out because of Don't Talk and Don't Tell. But what it showcased and what I learned as I went through this journey, as I recanted my childhood and on up, was that there was this thread that set through my family line. My great-grandmother and my grandmother didn't really get along. Although to the public, it was this perfect family. Oh, yeah. Perfect family. Everything was perfect. We were what you call a moneyed household. We weren't, we didn't eat mayonnaise sandwiches. We grew up moneyed, but we were missing the substance, which was that thing that will carry you through, past the money. And as I would witness as a child, I would watch this thread, and then there would come a point where the clash of the titans, which was my mother and I. And I would see that, okay, my great-grandmother, and then my grandmother, and my mother, and me, and then I would have this daughter that's a whole story in and of itself. But I would have this daughter, so it's these 4 generations
of women,
and it chronicles their lives. And I mean, it was very therapeutic for me. It was very courageous to tell this kind of tale. This is not a book about drug dealing, drug selling, drug using, because the title is Queenspin, and the Queenspin is the equivalent of a kingpin, which is a status. So that was difficult for me to use the title Queenspin because it had really nothing to do with drug selling or drug dealing, but my team felt that this was the best title. So, I mean, I allow the creative people to be creative, and so that there you have it. So, I'll read from the Queenspin's order, but before I read from it, I would like to, I picked several sentences from the book, and I'll read them off, and then I'll talk about them in relation to the book, because there's no way for you to really get the full grasp of the story unless you read it. And some people may not purchase the book, but what I would like for you to do is to leave with a full understanding of what the book is about, and to, open your minds and open your heart, and then we can have a Q&A, and you can ask any questions of your choosing, and I will certainly answer them honestly, because I really am at a place of healing, and I feel good about myself. We are subjected to our youth. What a powerful and liberating theology. So this is about this statement here, about really this Deidre character, who's the main character. She's searching. She's on this journey to find herself. And on this journey to find herself, she didn't feel that she had any mentors or really any real. So everything with Deidre was trial and error, with a lot of error, because she didn't know. So she steadily lumped her head into wall upon wall upon wall upon wall, trying to figure it out. But the big thing, or the great thing I think about Deidre is that she never gave up. She made countless mistakes, things that you would just shake your head over, but she always had that strength to just get up. It's like, and that's what we need. You need to always be able to rise above your situation. And so that's what I thought was very beautiful about the Deidre character. Another one is, the lesson I learned is that in corporate America, it's not what you know, but who you know. Yes. Now, Deidre would go on through life. She would get her corporate job, and it tells all of the behind-the-scenes tales about corporate America. And here she was, this innocent breed, and she's going in with these fresh set of eyes. And so she's like a sponge. And she's learning as she's going. So she's not, so big on herself, and that's the beauty of innocence, that when you're at that innocent stage, you're not, it's soil as opposed to concrete. You can't plant seeds in concrete. People with old ways and old ideas are not going to change. You've always got to be fertile. And the mind is a fertile ground, and it doesn't matter about your age or your upbringing, but you've always got to have that sense that I can always learn something, even from a fool. So that's where that came from. If we allow that to happen, we are the fools. Now this is about the character Deidre. She's getting into a relationship. Guy wants to marry her. She doesn't really know about this marriage thing. She doesn't really know about this love thing, because Deidre feels that if her mother can't love her, then how could anyone else love her? And so she is not able to reciprocate. So she would meet these beautiful people along her journey, but she just wasn't at that place yet where she was able to accept it and to grow from it. So it was just interesting, the dialogue between the two. And you had this this character who would see this in her, and he would be patient with her. And lastly, I will read one more, and then I'll go into the opening of the book. Unshakable faith, and dug through all the rubbish. In the process, he discovered a diamond in a rough, and said it was his duty to polish it until it sparkled under the blazing rays of the sun. And I thought that that was beautiful as well, because again, it goes into the thing of relationships and finding people that are patient with you, and more important than finding people that are patient with you, being patient enough with yourself so that you could get to your next phase. You never stop learning, you never stop growing. And in life, ultimately, you must go through the pain, because if you don't go through the pain, then you cannot experience the growth, bottom line. So that's what that's about. So I'm going to do a selected reading from the book, and I think I'm going to read from, as I said, Deidre's mother went to prison, so I guess I'll start from there, and where Deidre's trying to find herself, and we can go from there, and then we can do the Q&A section. When Mother went to prison, her absence created a void in my world that had already begun to develop while she was still around. In fact, I had already convinced myself that she loved my sister Celia, who was 1 year older, more than she loved me. Now that she had left our lives, I really felt alone. Not only was she gone, but so was her mother, my feisty grandmother, Big Chief. It was a title Mother hated with a passion, because it meant she had to take a back seat whenever the chief was on the scene. Mother was used to everyone bowing down to her. If not for my great-grandmother Louise, I would have truly been lost at sea without an anchor. Before I tell you about Louise, let me tell you a little bit about my grandmother.
I don't have a size 18 dress. Like, you better find me a dress. I don't care about these characters. She was screaming. Her husband said, I will be so glad. She said, I burnt the food, I'm like this with the book, because the characters, you really become one with these characters. Because they're so colorful. So, but there, to answer your question, there are 3 books. It's The Queenpin's Daughter. The book 2 is The Queenpin Chronicles, and book 3, respectfully so, is The Flight of the Phoenix. And Phoenix is our daughter. Flight of the Phoenix.
So this one is out now.
This one is out now. I am working right now on Queenpin Chronicles, and its process is very similar to this one, but to this process, the only difference is that it's funny to me. The first one wasn't funny. It was full of tears, and I would have to put the pen down. I gained weight. I mean, I ate so much ice cream and pound cake. And you know, it was like a comfort. Like everything was a comfort, and I allowed myself to do it unashamedly. Like, you know, I just eat Snickers bars because I'm sitting up with the laptop, and it just don't make no sense. And I looked up, and I had ballooned up, and I couldn't fit anything, and now I had to go to the public, and I said, "Are you kidding me? I need another year to get myself together." So that's where I'm at. So let's just hope in book 2 we're very health conscious. I'll be coming here for the health class. Just my name.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I see you soon.
Okay.
I know you from somewhere.
This is not your last time here, right?
No, sir. I intend on coming back.
We hope you come back, and we'll be in contact. Okay?
Thank you.
This is Lenny reporting for the LMS Extra Show. We're from the Sisters Uptown Cultural Bookstore and Wellness Center, and with
L.S. Jones.
L.S. Jones. And what's the name of that book, sister? Tell us the name of that book.
Pin's Daughter.
The Queenpin's Daughter. And we'll be right back. And take it down.